Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Shiva Shakti Samarambham Bhaskararaya Madhyamam Asmat Srinatha Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam.
Namaste. We will continue to learn and study the Devi Stuti, also called the Sarva Siddhikari Stotram. The last two sessions, we went through the first three verses of this stotram and saw how doing Devi Upasana with even one Matrika Akshara or one syllable of the Sri Vidya mantra could make a man powerful and compete with gods. Let us quickly review what Bhaskararaya says in the Upodghatam or the preface of this text, Setubandha. Bhaskararaya says, before proceeding to take up study of tantras or doing Devi Upasana or doing Anusandhanam of these stotras, it is very important that everyone should do sadhana based on their strengths and competence. This he calls Adhikari Bedam. There are so many different types of people in this world. Even the 5 fingers in our hand are individually different, and each one of them have different strengths. Similarly, according to their individual competence, based on their Adhikari Bhedam, every person should strive to improve and should use the Sri Vidya knowledge to grow in the spiritual path. So here Bhaskararaya gives that word Adhikari Bhedam means that is the individual's competence and the differences of individuals based on that. And the reason why we have so many tantras, innumerable tantras in this world, is because not everyone is equal, and each of the tantra caters to every level of individual. Some of them are very high level, some of them are medium, low level. So it is very important. That is why there are so many tantras. Even to get into the study of tantras, the first step should be to get the initiation of the Sri Vidya mantra from a Sri Guru and do the upasana. And the disciple should strive to learn more and more by holding on to the holy feet of Sadguru. The Guru knows each one's competence and teaches accordingly based on their thinking capacity and sadhana capability. Our minds should not be spent on comparing what is big or small or which is better. We have to do consistently and continuously practice the sadhana that our Guru has taught us. Important point here is to do these practices consistently until the end of one's life.
Yeah, so this is what Bhaskararaya explains in his foreword of the Setubandha. I think it's a very important point, because when we are setting out to read the tantras and understand the meanings, we wanted to just explain what he wants to say, like through his foreword. So we thought it will be a very important points for us all to know. Now we finished until the first, I think, 3 verses we completed in the last class. We will now move on to the 4th verse. Yadakshara shashijyotsna manditam bhuvanatrayam. Yadakshara shashijyotsna manditam bhuvanatrayam. Vande sarveshwarim devim mahashri siddha matrikam. Vande sarveshwarim devim mahashri siddha matrikam. Now, yadakshara means yat akshara, with what one akshara. Shashi jyotsna. Shashi, it's a popular word in Sanskrit. Shashi means moon. Now, who is the Sashi or moon of these aksharas? He's saying that aksharas Shashi, So, who is the Shashi or moon of these aksharas? He says the Bindu in Matrikas are the Shashis. So, the Matrikas, as you all know, they are A, I, U, and so on. When you put the dot on top of them, they become Im, and so on. So, the Bindu on top of the Matrikas are called the Shashis. Now, the Anuswaram or Bindu or the dot, it denotes the moon. Now the im sound, when it changes, the changes to the sound represents the moon. Now a moon can manifest itself through its light or jyotsna. Jyotsna is the moonlight. So how does a moon make itself appear? It can manifest itself through its light. Now it can spread its beauty throughout the entire world through its light. In Sri Vidya sadhana, the moonlight is equated with Amritakala or the nectar which the sadhaka experiences in the Sahasrara chakra on the top of his head at the time of his union with Shiva. So Amritakala, Amritakalaye Namaha it is equated with the moonlight in Sri Vidya, and this ananda or the bliss that the sadhaka experiences during his union with Shiva is realized at that point. He realizes the ananda or the paramananda. There is a text called Kamakala Vilasa, which is an important text in Sri Vidya by Yogi Punyanandanatha. In that text, it is said that the world is created in the proximity of the Anuswara or Bindu, which is where Mahatripura Sundari resides along with Kameshvara in the Sri Chakra. Now, Devi Stuti says the Bindu of Aksharas Manditam, Manditam Bhuvanatrayam. Yadakshara Shashijyotsna Manditam Bhuvanatrayam. So the Manditam means it engulfs the entire world. Bhuvana. Bhuvana is the world. Now Bhuvanatrayam or three worlds, all the three worlds put together, that entire world, universe, this Bindu of the Aksharas of Devi, they engulf the entire three worlds. So
now let's look at the Sukshma Artha of Bhuvanatrayam. So the three worlds are also called the Bhuvana. World is Bhuvana, so Trayam is three. So Bhuvanatrayam is the three worlds. Bhaskararaya says it can also be taken as Nyatrik Jnanak Jneya. Nyatra means the knower, Jnana is the knowledge, and Jneya is the object of knowledge. Bhavana Upanishad says, Nyatrik Jnanak Jneyanam Abheda Bhavanam Sri Chakra Pujanam. When the knower, the knowledge, and the object of knowledge becomes one, he experiences the Ananda, which is exactly what Sri Chakra Puja is. Just as the moon illuminates the three worlds with its light or Jyotsna, the power of Devi's Matrikaksharas with Bindu covers the sadhaka's mind with Jnana. At that point, the sadhaka who is Jnatra or knower becomes one with the Jnana, which is the knowledge or the Sri Vidya, and Jneya, which is object of knowledge, which is the Brahman represented by Mahatripura Sundari.
So Jnatra, Jnana, and Jneya. So Jnatra is the knower, that is the sadhaka who is trying to know the Brahman, which is the Jneya. The object of knowledge is the Brahman or Mahatripura Sundari, which the Jnatra is trying to understand, and the knowledge through which he is going to try to understand the object of knowledge, Mahatripura Sundari, is Sri Vidya. So that is the Jnana. He is trying to use this Jnana, the knowledge of Sri Vidya, to understand the Jneya, that is the object of knowledge, which is the Mahatripura Sundari.
So Bhaskararaya says that the Sri Vidya mantra, which has Anuswaram in three places, that is Anuswaram is the because of this Bindu Trayam, Anuswaram is also the Bindu or the dot on top. So because of this Bindu Trayam, the three worlds are bright and illuminated, because we already said that they are the Sashi Jyotsna. That Bindu is the form of moon, the moonlight. The Sri Vidya Panchadashakshari mantra has Anuswaram in three places. So these three worlds are lit with light because of the Shakti of the rays of these three Anuswaram. He says, Naksharati iti aksharam. That which does not deplete, it does not depreciate. That is what is called aksharam. So Devi's aksharas never deplete or depreciate. Another interpretation is that since Anuswaram is placed on top of an akshara, that is like a bright light which provides light to all that is below. Like when we are reading and have a table lamp, so you see you can read very well because that light is illuminating whatever you're reading. Same thing, the entire that is a light on top of each of these aksharas which illuminates. And we have already seen that illumination is the not just our illumination, is the illumination of our mind, of everything in this world. Every creation is illuminated.
So this is how Bhaskararaya interprets this verse. And Vande Sarveshwarim Devim Mahashri Siddhamatrikam. So Shri is used here to give respect. We use this word. So I bow down to that goddess who is Sarveshwari, the Lord of everything. So for Matrika Aksharas, he is joining the word Shri. Mahashri Siddha Matrikam. So Matrikas are given a higher place. He says, I bow down to that Mahashri Siddha Matrika, who is the mother of or Janani of Sri Kanthadi Devatas. Sri Kantha means Shiva. Adi means starting from Shiva. That means Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and so on. And all other devatas. So Bhaskararaya says, so she is that mother. I bow down to her, to that Siddha Matrika, who is the mother Janani of Sri Kanthadi Devatas, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, and all other devatas. And he also interprets this the Chandra, the moon, Shashi, in a different way. In another way, he says some people in the people who wrote this commentaries, different commentaries, the Vyakhyanam for NityaShodashikarnava, some of them have mentioned that this is the verse. This verse is treated as a stuti of the Bijakshara sum of Chandra. So we say Sam Somaya Namaha. So the sum becomes a Bijakshara of Soma or Chandra. And the same sum, Matrikakshara, that comes in the Sri Vidya mantra. So some people have treated this verse as a stuti of that Matrikakshara of which is also Bijakshara of Shashi or Chandra. That comes in between the Sri Vidya mantra. So we will just go quickly. We will revise the fourth verse. It is Yadakshara Shashijyotsna Manditam Bhuvanatrayam Vande Sarveshwarim Devim Mahashri Siddhamatrikam. I think for Bhuvanatrayam, only Bhaskararaya can interpret something different, because on a superficial level, we can all just treat it as a Bhuvana of three words. So we'll proceed to the next verse, fifth verse. Yadakshara Mahasutra Protametad Jagatrayam. Yadakshara Mahasutra Protametad Jagatrayam. Brahmandadi Katahantam Tam Vande Siddhamatrikam. That is the second line. Brahmandadi katahantam Brahmandadi katahantam tam vande siddha matrikam, siddhi matrikam. So we will now see the meaning of this fifth verse. So Mahasutra, sutra means it is a thread. Yadakshara Mahasutra. Again, he is talking about the Matrika Aksharas. Now you all know, we have all been seeing only the Aksharas until now. Again, in the fifth verse, he is talking about only the Matrika Aksharas. Yadakshara Mahasutra Protametat Jagatrayam. So in the 51 Matrikas, they start from Akara to Hakara. A, I, until Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha. Laksha, we don't take them as the Shuddha Matrikas. So these Akara to Hakara, Bhaskararaya says, in these Matrikas are entangled the Saptakoti mantras. And the different combinations of these Matrikas take the form of the entire creation, Prapancha or Brahmanda, or the most ordinary, simplest and trivial form of a frying pan, which is also called the kataha. Kataha means the frying pan, which is a most like a very simple and ordinary, trivial form of a material. So Bhaskararaya says the different combinations of these matrikas take the form of the entire creation, the Brahmanda, Brahmandadi, Katahantam, Brahmanda Adi, Kataha Antam. Starting from the Brahmanda until the Kataha or the frying pan, the different combinations of these matrikas, they take the form of the biggest imaginable physical world to the most subtle form. So all languages are in between this akara to hakara. As I mentioned earlier, the Shuddha Matrikas only we are taking here. The la, the after sha, sa, ha, la, ksha. The la is equated with la, and ksha is treated as a compound letter, ik and sha. So these two are not considered Shuddha. So these two are excluded. So he says, Bhaskararaya says, all languages are based on the sounds starting from akara to hakara. And he says, why only languages? The entire prapancha, brahmandadi, the entire prapancha is in between these two aksharas. Now, sutra means thread. Yadakshara Mahasutra. Sutra means thread. Mahasutra means a great big thread. Now imagine the Saptakoti mantras to be beads. If these Saptakoti mantras are joined together as beads and are created as a mala using this Mahasutra, and imagine this thread of mantras covering or engulfing the entire world, starting from the Brahmandam to the Kataha or the trivial frying pan. So that is what it means. Yadakshara Mahasura, that Devi whose aksharas are joined together as beads in the Mahasutra, Protameta Jagatrayam. They are engulfing the entire three words, Jagatrayam, the three words, starting from Brahmandadi Katahantam, that Devi whose aksharas are like this, to that Devi Tam Vande Siddhi Matrikam. To that Devi who is a Siddhi Matrika, I bow down.
So Bhaskararaya, as always, he does a very thorough job in terms of quoting from different places to prove his point. So mainly to him, the Shruti or the Vedas are the primemost. Yeah. So he takes that. He also takes from Puranas, from many other tantras. So here, to establish this particular verse, Bhaskararaya quotes from an adhikarana or a chapter called Ambaranta Dhruti from the Vedas, where the Rishi says, Etatvai tadaksharam gargi Surya Chandramasau Vidhritau Tishtataha. So the meaning is, hey Gargi, between the two aksharas, Akara and Hakara, the entire Surya Mandala and Chandra Mandala are held. To that Devi, who is in the form of beads of mantras that engulfs this entire three worlds or cosmos, starting from the Brahmanda to Kataha, Tam Vande, I bow down to her. The word Siddha Matrikam can be interpreted in different ways. Bhaskararaya says that he uses Sanskrit grammar, and in this, the word Siddha Matrikam can be we have something called compound word like a Samasa Pada. So he gives like, we will be just explaining some two of those what he has given in that for me explaining this meaning. The Siddha cha Sa Matrika, that is Siddha Matrika. That Matrika which we have accomplished, that Matrika through which we have attained Siddhi. So that is the
Siddhi Matrika.
that is the Siddha. Yeah. Then the Siddha Matrika, Siddha Matrika Yaya, who is the mother of Siddhas or Siddha Purushas, the person who is the mother of all Siddhas, Mahatripura Sundari. So that is how he explains the word Siddha Matrika. He gives both the meanings, and both the meanings are relevant and important.
So, for just that word Siddhi Matrika, he has given two different meanings. It's very interesting that he's interpreted them in such a different way. So let's recite that verse again, the fifth verse. Yadakshara Mahasutra Protametad Jagatrayam Brahmandadi Katahantam Tam Vande Siddhi Matrikam. Now we will move on to the sixth verse. Yadekadasham adharam bijam kona trayodbhavam. Yadekadasham adharam bijam kona trayodbhavam. Brahmandadi katahantam jagat adyapi drishyate. Brahmandadi katahantam jagadadyapi drishyate. So again, it's a repetition. The second line, he has used the same Brahmandadi katahantam. So now he is moving on to discuss the basis of the universe. Here, the basis of the universe is being explained. Now, for anything that is, for any material, we need to think of what it is made of. Like, for example, ghee, the basis is milk. For a tree, it is a seed. So, from where it starts? So, we say, Jagat Adyapi Drishyate. So, how Jagat Adyapi Drishyate?
Even now it's seen.
Yeah, Adyapi Drishyate. Drishyate is a passive voice that is being seen. So, Jagat Adya Api Drishyate. Even today, it is being seen. What is being seen? Jagat. The universe is being seen. By whom is it being seen? Now, the Jagat itself, how is it described? It is described as Brahmandadi Katahantam. That Jagat, which is starting from the Brahmanda to the frying pan, Kataha, how is it being seen, and who is it being, by whom is it being seen? Now he says, the Shastra, the Sandhi Shastrajna, the base, this base is being seen even today by the Sandhi Shastrajna. So the Shastrajna means one who knows the Shastra. Of what Shastra? Sandhi Shastra. The Sandhi, which is like Vyakarana Shastra in Sanskritam, grammar. So all those scholars, they look at the Brahmandadi Katahantam Jagat Adyapi, even today, they are seeing it as they can understand it even today. Now, why is he suddenly thinking of the Sandhi Shastragya? Because yat ekadasham adharam bijam. Now this ye, he says the basis of this universe is the ekadasha bija. What is the ekadasha bija in the matrika aksharas? Am, im, rim, lim, yem. So A is the 11th letter, 11th matrika, and yat ekadasham adharam. So the 11th ekadasha is the adhara. The verse says, the Devi Stuti says, the basis of this universe, Jagat, is the ekadasha, the 11th matrika akshara. Why is it the 11th matrika akshara ye? Why is that called as the basis of this universe? Now, the 11th letter A, when Bhaskararaya explains further in his commentary, he says the 11th letter A is written as a triangle in Nagari Lipi. Now, Nagari Lipi is the ancestor of Devanagari script that we use for Sanskritam, and it was first used to write Prakrit and Sanskritam. So the 11th letter in Nagari Lipi, the way it is written, it looks like a Konatrayam, that is a triangle. Konatrayam Udbhavam Ekadasham. So the 11th letter has emerged out of the Konatraya, a triangle. Now, how can an alphabet A become the basis of this universe? Now, Bhaskararaya, that is why he is now remembering the Sandhi Shastragya. Sandhi Shastragya, those who are scholars in Sanskrit grammar in Sandhi. That is the one, when we merge, when we combine two consonants or vowels and consonants, the different sounds are formed. Now, he says, let us now look at how this letter A is formed. The two letters, A is a combination. When you add A and E in Sanskrit, it produces the alphabet A. So A plus E becomes A. Bhaskararaya says Akara, that is Akara and Ikara becomes Yekara. Now Bhaskararaya says, what is Akara? Akara is represented by Shiva. Shiva Tattvam. Akara is Shiva. Now he says that Akara's stri or woman is represented by the letter E. Now, because of these two joining together, the Akara with the Ikara becomes Yekara. So because
Just
of
like how we have like akara, like the masculine gauram, gaura, when it becomes the e, it becomes gauri.
Gauram plus
Gauram becomes gauri.
Gauri.
So that is why akara's three or akara's women is represented becomes e. Like that is why gauram, like gauram means the white color in the Shiva. And when we say
the feminine
form it becomes gauri. So there are many examples like that.
Yes. So because of these two joining together, we get the letter A, and this is the reason he says yat ekadasham adharam. So the 11th letter A is the matrika. A is the basis of the seed of this universe. He then says that since the form of this matrika is similar to a trikona or the golden triangle representing the seed of this universe.
Yeah. So in fact, this verse is one of the most important verse in understanding the entire Sri Vidya Upasana. It actually talks about like from the philosophy, because it is explaining the entire creation, the manifestation of this particular physical world which we are all living together. And it is also saying, because the Vedas say they were it was only in the form of energy or chit or consciousness, and then it became this whole material universe was created. They create. So Vedas also say ikshata, means the God willed to create all of this. So this particular triangle or the golden triangle is the we have to understand it you have to understand it in a close manner,
In a deeper
like a
sense.
deeper sense. That is why, in fact, when we says that sandhi shastrajnaha, it also implies that to understand this,
Union
you
of
need yeah, just not that it is like a and
and
e becomes a. That is a simple thing. You don't need like a shastrajna, but he implies that it has something deeper in it. So, because that A in that Prachina Lipi is written
yeah.
as that triangle, the golden triangle, here the entire creation is explained by the letter A, Akara. The 3 points in this triangle are actually the Bindu, Nada,
And Kala.
and Kala. So, those three are the most important concepts: Nada, Bindu, Kala in the SriVidya Upasana. And this Bindu is actually the union of Shiva and Shakti, and Shiva is in the form of Prakasha, and Shakti is in the form of Vimarsha. So the Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupa is in the Bindu, and that from that Bindu, the sound, the first primordial first sound came, because there was a spandana happening, or Shiva Shaktya Yukto, the Soundar Lagri's first verse is actually talking about this. When the spandana or the movement happened only because Shakti, Shiva was joined with Shakti. So when they became together, this manifestation was created. So that Bindu, which is the combination, it started with the sound. How did it happen? First they become Para, then Pashyanti, then Madhyama, and the Vaikhari, which is how the sounds come. And when the sound comes, then that matrikas, what we are talking about in this Devi Stutis, all the letters, all the sounds, all the mantras, they are all came. And those mantras, when they came out, when the frequency changed, the sound became actually physical matter through they became like a race, like a kala, and that kala became transformed into this matter. So this gives like a philosophy of how the triangle, which is comprising of the bindu, nada, and kala, each one have relationship. Bindu has relationship with nada and also with kala. Kala has relationship with bindu and nada. So same way, so all of them, there are, like they say, there are 5 different relationships because of with these 3: bindu, nada, and kala. And that is how this entire creation happened. So that is an important concept which you have to know. He also quotes from the first section of Tripura Tapini Upanishad, also called Sundari Tapini Upanishad. Here he says, Gayatri Mantra establishes a connection between the formation of this universe and the letter A. So, what the Vedas say, the most important mantra in the Veda, the Gayatri Mantra, says Tatsavitur Varenyam. So, here he says that Savituhu is the Akara and Varenyam is the Ekara. So, Savituhu, Ikara. So, Akara, Ikara becomes the Ekara. So, this Savituhu is Akara and Varenyam is Ikara. So, the interestingly, how they become that next A, it comes in this, the Vedas have swara. All of you who have learned Vedas, you know that there are some swaras. So the Gayatri Mantra swara, Tatsavitur Varenyam, that A. So that A and E here, it becomes A. That A is the most important sound in that Gayatri Mantra, that A. So this particular Gayatri Mantra also explains what we are just in this sloka about the discussing about the importance of that ekara in the creation of this universe. So the force or the creative energy is that ekara.
And it's also the second akshara in the Vagbhavakutam. Bhaskararaya says in the Sri Vidya mantra, the Vagbhavakutam has the second akshara, second matrika, as the A there. And
Also
he
the
is
Anuttarana.
also, he also brings another pramana from Vedam, Yatatvaita Daksharam.
Yeah. Yeah. So he
Etadvai.
talks about a pramana from etadvai tadaksharam, etadvai tad aksharam. He says the meaning of etad is only a. So when it says etad, this is that
Akshara.
that letter. It means what is that? Which is what is this? It says that a is actually that letter, and also this the meaning, which is the Anuttarananda, that is Ekara, is actually the Icha Shakti. So the Ekara is also for the Icha Shakti, has given the Ekara. So that is how the Icha,
So Bhaskararaya just
yeah,
goes around all
yeah.
the Upanishads, Veda Pramanam, and different
Yeah. So when the
aspects.
Icha Shakti and the Ananda merge, he
says
says that is also the
Ekara.
Ekara.
So that is how the universe is manifested. So he says Yadekadasham Adharam Bijam Konatrayodbhavam Brahmandadi Katahantam Jagat Adyapi Drishyate. So even today, people who are the Shastrajnas, who know the Shastras, they see this Yekara as the Bija which has emerged out of the golden triangle, and which is forming the seed of the or the basis of this universe or the creation. Now we will move on to verse 7. Akachadi tatonadha. It's a little bit of a tongue twister here.
Yeah.
So you can split it as akachadi, akachadi tatonadha paya shakshara varginim. So you can you can break it as akachadi tatonadha payashakshara varginim jyeshtanga bahupadagra madhyaswanta nivasinim. Jyeshtanga bahupadagra madhyaswanta nivasinim. So now, until now, first 5 verses we talked about, Bhaskararaya talked about the importance and the power of all the Matrikaksharas. The 6th verse, he said, there is one Matrikakshara which is actually the basis of this universe. So he is going to the extreme level of bringing the power of these matrikas. So he has explained how important and powerful these matrikas are. Now, how do we get them into our life? That is explained in practically during your sadhana. How do we get them into yourself, So that is being explained in verse number 7. Now, akachadi, let us break the first line, we'll take it. Aka cha adi, akacha adi, ta unnadha, tatonadha can be broken as ta unnadha. Payashakshara varginim can be broken as pa ya sha akshara varginim. So akacha adi, akachadi, ta unnadha, tatonadha, payasha akshara varginim. Is it? It is payashakshara varginim. Now, the second line says Jeshtanga bahupadagra madhyaswanta nivasinim. So we'll break that as Jeshtha anga bahu pada agra madhya swanta nivasinim. Jeshtha anga bahu pada agra madhya swanta nivasinim. Now, Nivasinim, it's a very common popular word. Nivasini means living in a place. So, Kashi Pura Nivasini, she is the Devi who resides in Kashi. So Nivasini means living in a place. So he says Devi is living in these places. Okay, now let us see where what he means by where is she living. Now a ka cha adi, that is a adi, ka adi, and cha adi. That is, adi means starting from. So a adi means starting from a, ka adi is starting from ka, and cha adi is starting from cha. So that means what? Starting from a adi means starting from a, right? So that is amam, imim, umum, rimrim, limlim, yem, aim, om, aha. So the 16 vowels, that's what he means. A adi means the 16 vowels, a to aha. Ka adi, starting from ka, that is the kavargas. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So ka adi and cha adi starting from cha, is they are the chavargas, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. So that means we are covering the first three series, a to aha, ka to nga, and cha to nya. Now next line is tatonnadha, ta ta unnadha, ta unnadha, and ta unnadha. Unnadha also means starting from. So that has similar meaning to adi. So unnadha means ta vargas, ta, tha, da, dha, na, and ta unnadha means ta, tha, da, dha, na. So we are covering now ta varga and ta varga. No, pa ya sha akshara varginim, payasha akshara varginim, right? So pa ya and sha aksharatmakaha cha te vargaha. That is, he says these three pa ya and sha, they are individually aksharas and are also forming a group as vargas. The pavargas are what? Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. Ya series he is taken as ya, ra, la, va. Four. Okay. And sha he is taking as 6 letters. Sha, sha, sa, ha, laksha. Here he is taking la and ksha. The previous words he said discard them. No, we have to take only the Shuddha Matrikas. But here he is including those two, la and ksha, along with the sha, sa, ha, la, ksha. So now he has also gone ahead and given a pramana, the Uddharana of Pavarga. He has taken it from Kalika Purana, where he says it has been the Pavargas have been described as the 5 letters starting from pa to ma. So pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. He says I am not doing it myself. Kalika Purana says the Pavargas are these pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. And then he says the next group of the Yavarga, they consist of 4 letters, ya, ra, la, va. And he says the third group of Shavargas are the 6 letters, sha, sha, sa, ha, la, ksha. Now, again, I don't know, the la, ksha, the Tantra says the Shavargas are 6 letters, so we have to take them. Now, we cannot question that because the Tantras are nothing but Shiva Parvati Samvada. Tantras are all formed from the conversation between Shiva and Parvati. So, we just go by what they say there. So, there are no questions to be asked. No, so now totally, starting from how many group of letters did we see? From to aha, 1 series. Then Kavarga, Chavarga, Tavarga, Tavarga, Pavarga, Yavarga, and Shavargas. So there are 8 Vargas. So now Akachadi Tato Nadha Payashakshara Varginim. So she is in the form of these 8 Vargini. She's called, since she is in the form of these Vargas, she is called a Vargini.
Yeah, Varga is group of
letters. Yeah. And that is why these are Payashakshara Varginim. So they are in the form of 8 Vargas. Now, Bhaskararaya, he goes ahead and now he comes to a Nyaya in Sanskrit called Yatha Sankhya Nyayam. Now, if you have two series, A and B, A has a few things, and B has a few things, items listed. In Yatha Sankhya Nyayam, number one item is matched with number one
One
item
item.
of B series. So A series, the first item is matched with number one, first item of the B series. The second item is matched with second
So
of
there should be
B.
1 to 1.
So 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. So as we say in English, respectively, right?
Yeah.
So respective, you just match them, the same respective matches.
Cannot it
are
be
made.
haphazard or just like
Yeah,
random?
you cannot randomly match
matched,
them.
yeah.
So he picks up that nyaya and he says, now let's take the ashtavargas in one series. Let us call it as series A. So a, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ya, sha. They are all in series A. Now let us see what the series B have. Now the series B, what is the second line? Jeshthanga Bahu Padagra Madhyaswanta Nivasini. Now Jeshtha Anga. Now Jeshtangam means
Just
the head, just the head, and Bahu. Bahu, he's used a plural. So Bahu means dual. So both
like
hands.
Guru,
Guru,
Guravaha,
yeah.
like the same thing.
So-
Bahu.
Bahu means
Yeah.
dual, so two hands, and Padau. Padau also means two legs. So the first item in B series is Jeshtanga. So that has to be matched with A to Aha from the A series. So 1 to 1 matching has to be done. So A to Aha, Akachadi Tatonadha. The first one is A. And here Jeshtanga Bahu Padagra. So A is matched with Jeshtanga. Now the second item in B series, Jeshtanga Bahu. Bahu is the second and third become the two hands. So what is here? A, Ka, Cha. So A to Jeshtanga.
So Jeshtanga also means the head.
Yeah, Jeshtanga means the head.
Yeah.
So A has to be matched with Jeshtanga. Ka has to be matched with one hand, and cha has to be chavarga has to be, they have to be matched with another second hand, because bahu are the two hands. Now fourth one is the tavarga here. A, ka, cha, ta. Tavargas have to be matched with padau, the first leg, and the fifth varga, that is the tavarga, they have to be matched with the second leg. So we have now covered, out of the 8 vargas, the 5 items have been covered. Now Jeshtangam, he's going he's explaining precisely what Jeshtangam means. So Jeshtangam he calls Shirshadi Ghantika Ghantikanta Bhagaha. So starting from Shirsham, from the top of the head, until the Ghantika. Ghantika is actually the Adam's apple. So until that, Antaha, this portion from starting from the head, top of the head, until here is called the Jeshtangam. So this is where we have to place, Devi resides in the form of Matrikakshara starting from A to Aha. So A Adi. So all the 16 vowels are placed. She resides in the form of the 16 vowels starting from A on the Jeshtanga, from the top of the head to the Kantha.
No, not above the kanta. So
above the kanta,
because they throw out all the ghantika is to. So it should be above the neck. So only the top portion
of the head is where A to Aha we place. Now Jeshtanga Bahu Pada Agra. We saw Bahu and Pada, the two hands and two legs. The next word is Agra. What is Agram? Agram means Charamam, Angam, Hridayadi, Sivini, Antam. That is until Mula. Sivini Antam means until the Mooladhara, starting from the Hridaya to the Mooladhara. The portion of our body from the Hridaya to the Mooladhara is called Agram. And here, according to our Yatha Sankhya Nyaya, covered all the first five vargas. A, ka, cha, ta, ta are covered. Now in Agram, the next one, pavargam have to come. Has they pa, ba, bha, ma?
Yeah.
These five letters have to be placed in the Agram, that is starting from Hridayam to Mooladhara. That portion of the body, these letters have to be placed. Now next comes the word Padagra Madhya. Madhyam means Kantadi Stanabhagam, starting from the neck to the chest. So until that is the Madhyama Bhaga. Here, what are placed? The next series, Ya, Ra, La, Va are placed. And then comes the last location, Swantam, which is Suantam, that is Hridayam. So the last series of Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha, La, Ksha all start from the Hridaya. So those who are practicing the SriVidya Upasana, you would very well would have understood by now what we are talking is the Matrikanyasa. Isn't it beautiful? So it's the amazing verse in the Devi Stuti, and this is what it is possible for us to even understand this only because of great work like Bhaskararaya. So that is exactly what he explains in this verse, and he also says the torso or the main the when you say sharira, the sharira is defined by agra, madhya, and swanta. Only they are the main parts of the sharira. The others are all extra fittings. Like just a trunk of a tree, you have the main trunk, and the branches, the roots, the leaves. All these are all like extra fittings onto the trunk. So we have to, when we say sharira, it means only the Jeshtham, Agram, Madhyam, and Swantam, and that is how these Matrikaksharas are to be placed. And he also goes ahead and he says how to do these nyasam when you say Agram. See, the rest of the when you say Agram, he says that agra means both sides of the trunk, and nabhi and prishtabhagam, the navel and the backside. He says in the older vyakhyanam, when this vyakhyanam, as we mentioned, it has been done by many other people. He says in olden days, Bhaskararaya has said that in those older vyakhyanams, they have mentioned this to be taken as the front and back of our body. That should not be followed. Instead, you start from the moola of the bahu to the agram of the bahu. So you start from the top of the hand to the agram or the front of the hand. Similarly, you start from the moola of the leg to the agram of the leg. So he actually from because of these explanations, we are able to do the Matrika Nyasa today. And he also says he finds a variation in Tantraraja Tantra. It is another Tantra. He says the method of Matrika Nyasam there is different. It says Jaish Tangam Bahu Hrit Prishta Katipada Nivasini. So Devi is how here we say Jaish Tangam Bahu Padagra Madhyaswanta Nivasini. But there is another tantra called Tantraraja Tantra where it says Jeshtanga Bahu Hrit Prishtha Katipada Nivasinim. So it changes the entire Matrikanyasa. And to that he says that only this tantra, NityaShodashikarnava, is in accordance with the sequence of the Matrikas. So the reason Bhaskararaya talks so much about this subject is to nail the importance of Matrikanyasa. And he also says in his Vyakhyana, in his commentary, he says Bhuta Shuddhi and Prana Pratishtha are equally important, so that Bhuta Shuddhi, Prana Pratishtha, and Matrikanyasa, when they are performed on a daily basis, the Matrikas and Devatas, they are all one, they become one and the same. And he says that the purpose of this verse is just to highlight their oneness, Matrikas and Devatas. So it's a very beautiful verse. The more you think about it, the more joy you get out of this. So let's again, I think we have time just to revise the verses. Let us start from the first verse. Now we are stopping the meaning with this seventh verse today. We will go further in the next class, but let's all start chanting from the first verse to the seventh verse. Om Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yogini Rashi Rupini Devi Mantramayim Naumi Matrikam Pitha Rupini Pranamami Mahadevim Matrikam Parameshwarim Kala Hallo Hallo Lola Kalana Shamakarini Yadaksharaikamaatrepi samsiddhe spardhate naraha Ravitarkshendu kandarpa shankara nala vishnubhihi Yadakshara manditam bhuvanatrayam Vande sarveshwarim devim mahashri siddhamatrikam Yadakshara protame tajjagatrayam Brahmandadikatahantam tam vande siddhimatrikam Yadekadashamadharam bijam kodatrayodbhavam Brahmandadikatahantam jagadadyapi drishyate Akachaditatonadhapayashaksharavarginim Jeshtangabahupadagrammadhyaswanta nivasinim. So with this we conclude today's session. Any questions? Let's quickly go through. Any questions you have, you can post it through YouTube or your Facebook page. We can quickly go through these meanings. I think it's pretty simple and straightforward today. There has been no question. Let me see, another comment has come in. Yeah. Okay, so let's all meet same time. Next weekend, Saturday, same time, or Sunday for India. And we will also have a support session. There is one support session to be held for Trishati. We were not able to come. Lalita Trishati. So we already held the class before, but the support session was not, we have not completed it. So those who have registered for the Veda or Sutra classes, you would get the Zoom link, the details of, we'll be scheduling one support session for Lalita Trishati this week. So during the week, so please join and get your chanting corrected, practice the chanting so that you can chant there and get them corrected if needed. And following this, we have the Rudram support session. Raghuji will be conducting Rudram and Vedam in Upanishad chanting. He will be just joining in through Zoom right after this session today. Those who have received the Zoom link, please remember to join and chant and get them corrected. And following which, we have the Lalita Sahasranama recitation by BPA kids. The kids have done a lot of hard work to learn the Lalita Sahasranama.
And everybody should support them.
Please join and support them and encourage them. They do an amazing job. The teachers have done an amazing job in teaching them too. So until next weekend, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Namaste.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.